Hey guys, Thayer Asbury here again with Revital Outdoors, bringing you another exciting podcast. Real quick, if you've been enjoying these podcasts, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, check us out on Facebook and Instagram. We have a lot of great content happening right now. Fishing season's picking up, and we're very, very fortunate to have all the podcasts that we're doing. Today's podcast, we're going to bring in a couple of BFL anglers from Lake Chickamauga. They did very, very well last year. Both of them got a top 5 in the BFL tournament last year on Lake Chickamauga. This time of year, we have Tim Saylor, who ended up 4th in the event, and then also his nephew, Justin Botts, who fishes for Bryan College. He got runner-up in the event last year. So very, very excited to have these guys on. They're going to talk about their tournament from last year and then what they predict the BFL tournament will be won on this year. So let's bring them in. Without further ado, Mr. Tim Saylor and Justin Botts. How you guys doing this evening?
Doing great.
Doing good, man. How about you?
We're doing great. So very honored to have you guys on board with us. I guess you guys are experiencing a little bit of weather. And then Tim, I think you actually fished a tournament today, or was it yesterday?
Yesterday on South Holston.
Yesterday. Okay. So how's the weather up there? Like, well, what's the water temperature doing right now? Like, how cold is it?
Water temp is 45, 46 degrees. It's actually, the lakes are fishing really good right now. It's been a great winter. The fish have really been pretty much all winter.
Fantastic. So, well, let's talk about, before we get too carried away, let's talk about last year's tournament. You both got a top 5. I've done a little research on you both, and you both are hammers on Lake Chickamauga. So, Tim, we'll start out with you. You got 4th. Kind of run us down, like, how many fish did you catch? How many keepers? And what was a really good pattern for you from last year?
Well, the pattern that I run down there this time of year is it's a big fish pattern. You don't get many bites. And last year in the BFL, I actually got 5 bites all day.
Wow.
And got 4 in the boat, and I had 4 that weighed a little over 20 pounds. The one fish I didn't get in the net was about 8 inches from the net, and it was about an 8-pounder on a jerkbait foul hook. And I could have cried when it come off.
Did it just come unbuttoned, or did we have a little co-angler issue with the net?
No, co-angler come over, net was in the water, and I had it hooked in the gill plate on the side of the head. And it was like pulling a piece of plywood sideways through the water, And I had him up to the surface, right 6-8 inches from the edge of the net, and it just nose dove. And I seen that big tail come up out of the water, and jerkbait flew up in there. I mean, it was really close. But that's it. I mean, that's my pattern. I honestly haven't figured out something on Chick in January that gives me a lot of numbers. Other than I've got some places where you can go catch 13 to 15-inch fish, but I'm not going to waste my time on those fish on that lake.
No, keeper on that lake's 14 inches, isn't it?
15.
15. Wow. 15. So, I mean, you're almost having to catch a 2.5 pound fish to be able to go in the live well.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty much just targeting areas where big fish dominate and just running those areas over and over and over. Some of these spots I might fish 6 or 7 times in a day.
Really?
Trying to entice that one big fish to bite.
So, well, Justin, same question. Like, you got runner-up last year. You said you had a fortunate tournament. I think you had 5 that weighed a little over 21 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. But, same questions to you. Like, what did you find was successful last year for you?
Last year, I wasn't catching that size in practice. I thought I could go catch 15 to 16 pounds, cut a decent check, and go on about have a good points finish. I actually found those fish last day of practice right before I come in, his last stop. It was just a little 30, 40-yard stretch. They was just there. I was catching them on an Alabama rig with my live scope. My first year with it, and they was following my rig, and I was just making them eat it. They popping or stopping or just any little different cadence, and they'd run through it or eat it one.
So, Okay. That's very interesting. The live scope technology, it's a great technology. There's some anglers that love it. There's some anglers that hate it. I do happen to know of a guy in the Bass Pro Tour that makes his home at Lake Chickamauga now that's phenomenal with it. And he comments all the time that if you ever want to really learn how to break down this technology, Lake Chickamauga is a great place to do that. So
yeah, it is. I agree 100%. This is where I learned really to dial in and use it more. My home lake, South Holston, it's real deep, clear lake. Live scope helps a lot there as well, but I'm not that good of a really deep water fisherman.
right.
And here I can use it in more of that 15 to 10, 8-foot range. And
I got you.
when it first came out, that fish was just stupid to it.
Right. So, now, are you just a one rod, Todd? Question for both of you: are you just one rod? I mean, once you find that pattern, Tim with the jerk bait or Justin with the Alabama rig, do you have a couple other variations on the deck, or do you just put one rod in the hand and go?
No, I had that BFL. I had 2 rods on the deck, and both of them was an Alabama rig.
Okay. Tim, same question to you.
That tournament, I had jerk bait, an A rig, a single 6-inch swim bait, and a lipless crankbait on the deck of the boat.
Okay. So sounds like you guys are pretty confident, pretty dialed into what you do on Lake Chickamauga. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Going off last year's results, both of you great tournaments. Do you think I assume both of you have been on the lake this year. It's fishing cold. I've heard the water's a little high right now. Do you suspect last year's results could, what you did last year will be the same this year, or what are you seeing this year versus last year?
I believe, I have not been on the water this year because pre-fishing in the winter on Chick or any Tennessee River impoundment, if you go too early, it's not going to help you. Those water conditions change so quickly. That river can go up 2-3 foot and drop 2 or 3 foot in a matter of 24 hours. It can go from clear to muddy, from muddy to clear, and it isn't that big a deal in March, April, but this time of year, it is a game changer on your conditions. You're dealing with cold water. If they move a ton of water in the river, that changes because them big fish do not like current, especially when it's cold. And if
really, I was just fixing to ask, does current make a difference? I remember last year, KVD won the Bass Pro Tour event there. He caught 24 fish in the last quarter using a 5XD Strike King crankbait and green gizzard shad, but it was all about that current. He couldn't catch fish until they fired the current. Does the current make a difference in the wintertime? And it sounds like it does for the big fish.
It does. I just don't think where they're so big, the bigger fish, they got to exert so much more energy in that cold water and that current, they tend to get away from it. And the more current it is, the more they spread out. The less current, the more they congregate more. And also, your if it's high water, man, the fish will get out and spread out on them flats and backwater. If it's low water, they're going to be on them secondary bars. There's so many variables that go into that lake. And plus, a lot of people don't think about this, but 60% of Chickamauga is useless water. It's
really
not good.
Okay.
40% of the lake holds 100% of the fish on that lake. There is so many just barren, nothing banks, just mud, silt. That's useless. So fish is really small compared to Gunnersville or Kentucky Lake or some of the other big Tennessee River impoundments.
Right. So that's interesting. That's the first time I've ever heard that. So, Justin, same question for you. I think you said you've been on the lake a little bit this year. Do you suspect what you did last year is going to factor into getting another top 10 this year, or just going to completely ditch what you did last year and just go fish the present of what's happening right now?
History is hard to pass up on. It really is for me, at least. Conditions are completely different than they were this time last year. The lake's 2 foot down from being full pool. Last year it was real low. They've been moving a ton of water I've actually been on the lake. Went one evening. Didn't do very good, but went way up in the river. But no, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to go fishing again. Try to find something new. I think.
Right, right. So sounds like you guys throw a lot of moving baits. Is that how you kind of practice? Is put several different moving baits on the deck, or do you also pick up that jig or that worm this time of year, or is it just you're looking for the reactive fish?
This time of year, I'm looking from reactive fish, reaction bite.
Okay, okay. Tim, you're shaking your head. I believe.
Yeah, and I don't practice till the week before the tournament because I'm only
Right.
wanting to fish the conditions that are in front of me.
Okay.
And yes, moving baits. That's all I throw this time of year.
Right, right. Okay, okay. Here's an odd question. In the BFL, we have this rule where, I live in Florida now, so this is really not a factor on fishing like Okeechobee or the Kissimmee chain or Harris chain is throwing the Alabama rig. But the rule is no more than 5 wires, 5 spinnerbait blades, 3 hooks, and then 2 dummy baits. Do you think, in your opinion, both of you throw the A rig, do you think that hurts anglers or helps anglers in the sense of if you could throw more wires, more baits? For instance, like when Casey Martin won the FLW Tour event there in 2013, he was throwing a bait that had like $150 worth of swim baits on it. I think 10 wires, and
The
it's
chandelier.
ridiculous what he was. Yeah. So do you think those rules help anglers, or, being able, now that everyone's throwing Alabama rigs, the fish have seen them. Do you think if you had more wires and more hooks that it would help you, or what's your thoughts there?
Myself, I don't think so anymore. The fish are so tuned into it now. It's nothing special. I mean, it's just another bait. I've literally had fish I'm looking at on my live scope that I throw a rig by and they won't touch it, but I throw a jerk bait and they'll kill it. I mean,
really?
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing. I use it more as a spinner bait, especially this time of year.
Okay.
I throw a smaller rig, something compact, and not only just Chickamauga, but everywhere, but Gunnersville or Cherokee or Douglas or Lake Norman or wherever I go, and use it like a spinner bait, just to make it a little smaller, a little more compact, something a little versatile. You can stick back in those little holes, and whether it's beside a dock or in a brush pile or a lay down.
Okay.
Just something to get a reaction. And the days of reeling it real slow are over. If they get a good look at it, they won't eat it no more.
Really? Now that's news to me. Really? Wow. I mean, Justin, you seem like you're green. You feel like the same way? Like it really just doesn't matter anymore?
Yeah. The only thing I like a lot of blades on my rigs. I feel like it hides. That's coming from the clear water. I don't know that it matters really much down here and dirtier water, but I like a small rig. The rig I throw when I'm not fishing tournament or fun fishing or fishing a rodeo, it's got 8 blades, I think, on it. So they're really small blades, real compact though. Used to throw them on braid all the time. I throw them on 20-pound, 25-pound mono or fluoro. I'm not a fish a rig slow anymore kind of guy at all.
Okay. That was going to be my next question is, do you guys throw it on braid? Do you guys throw it on fluoro? I think that's still a debated question. Justin, you throw it on fluoro. How about you, Tim?
Fluoro. I never use braid.
Never use braid. I don't know if this is true or not. This is just my conspiracy, and it might be a little bit of dock talk, but I honestly think that the fish can hear braid coming through the water. I mean, I don't know for sure, but like if you just in your living room take a rod and it's got braid on it and you just flip out a weight or a jig or whatever you got tied onto it and you just stroke it like you would like maybe if you're flipping, and you can hear the wind going through that braid. I always wondered if the fish can hear that braid coming through the water. So
I have no idea. The only thing I use braid on is a spinning reel, as a backer, and when I'm flipping and some big top waters. I mean, that's pretty much it for me.
Okay. Well, just talking to you guys, I don't figure, I could be wrong, I don't figure you guys are very much in tune with wanting to throw a spinning rod very much.
Actually, I throw one a lot.
Really? You do? Okay. So Shaky head, drop shot. Is it a numbers thing, or it just something you factor in, or?
I've really gotten into drop shot in the last few years, but it's fun. We've got some lakes here nearby that you can go catch 40, 50, 60 fish a day with a drop shot, and it's fun. Now, it's not necessarily one of my go-to tournament tools, but it's something, especially in practice or in them tough BFLs when you know it's only going to take 11, 12 pounds to make a check or possibly win. Yeah, I've got a drop shot.
Okay. Okay, Justin, do you factor into a spinning rod at all?
I am getting more that way. I used to hate them. Used to hate throwing a spinning rod. But when it's tough, like he's saying, I mean, it's hard to beat a drop shot, in my opinion.
Okay.
I throw a drop shot a lot more than I throw a shaky head.
Really?
I mean, there's a lot of fish caught on a drop shot on the ledges on Chickamauga.
Mm-hmm.
Just because those fish have seen so many spoons and big crankbaits and big swim baits, and they're educated. And you try to, I mean, we're Nico rigging worms 30 foot deep.
Holy cow. How many tournaments does Chickamauga have a year? I mean, I know it's got to be a lot, but
There's got to be at least 12 or 14 a week.
It's insane. It's insane. It's getting so much pressure. I mean,
and guide boats everywhere.
Oh, is there a lot of guides there now?
Oh,
yes,
tons of guides.
Okay. And it still seems like it's still cranking out the fish. I mean, the weights speak for themselves, it seems like.
Yeah, but it is, in my opinion, it's the most humbling lake you can go if you've never fished it before.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot like Guntersville as far as you just showing up and going fishing. You're either going to have a ball or you're going to go home with your tail tucked. You're going to be very disappointed. It was really bad 10 years ago. The population of fish has grown over the last 8 or 10 years. But like in 13, when me and that buddy of mine had 44 pounds, there wasn't a lot of bites. When you got bit, though, it was a giant. You didn't catch 2 and 3 pounders. Everything you caught was a 5, 6, 7, 8 pounder. And if they didn't bite, it wasn't like you can go catch a limit real quick.
Okay.
But over the last,
is that the guy that's got the beard?
Yeah.
That was you that caught that 44 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
What a small world. Not only was that unbelievable that happened, then that was like right when the Alabama rig first hit the scene. I mean, that was the year after Paul Elias won on Guntersville. Randy Haynes, I know that he lives in the area of Lake Chickamauga. He had a big hand in getting that popular and all that. So I'm curious, because you mentioned that. Did you fish the Arkansas, or not the Arkansas? Did you fish the Bassmaster Team Championship on Lake DeGray in Arkansas?
No, I did not.
Okay, because I saw him there, and I remember asking him about that.
He did. He qualified through the CBAs.
Okay, I got you.
He won the CBA points that year and went on. I did not. I didn't fish any of the CBAs that year.
Okay. Now it makes sense why everybody says you're the hammer on Chickamauga, because if that's your team partner, I know you guys have caught wow, that's
very fortunate. Raji, me and him met at a Bassmaster Open in Florida. And we hit it off buddies. And I everything I know about Chickamauga I owe to him. So he taught me a ton about that lake.
Okay. So
he's no longer now. He's no
what?
He's no longer guiding on that lake anymore. He was the number one guide on Guntersville and Chick, but he quit guiding about 5 years ago.
Okay. So, I do have one question, just because it's very popular in the area for both of you. How in tune or how much do you throw a flat-sided crankbait?
Go ahead, Justin. Answer this.
I throw one a lot. I don't throw one as much as I used to, but I throw one quite often.
Do you make your own, or do you use like a PH Custom or that new Strike King? Or
PH is my favorite. That, and then my dad's got a couple of the old PD plugs that get broke out every now and again. But no, flat side, that's something that I've been throwing since I was little with him and my dad. But yeah, they've got a special place in my heart and a certain time of year. And I haven't figured out how to catch them good down here except in the river with it. There's just a lot of floating grass and junk in the water that I get more frustrated trying to crank than I do just throwing a swim bait down a bank or a jerk bait around brush or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tim, do you throw it at all?
It was a lot better crankbait late before the grass come back.
Okay.
I throw it a lot at Watts Bar, Fort Loudon. Not so much on Chick anymore, just because of the grass. Okay. And there's also a algae that's growing on in Chickamauga that if you get around a lot of hard rock, shale beds and stuff, it's got a lot of this old greeny, slimy algae, and it's really hard to throw a crankbait around it.
Okay.
But when I do throw one, I throw the old PD plug that was made in Rockwood, Tennessee back in the day. That was the original flat side. And then I throw a lot of CP's custom, Craig Powers.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I know that Wesley Strader and Andy Morgan they've mentioned Craig Powers flat side. So that's really interesting. And of course, they both have special people that they don't ever talk about making custom ones for themselves. So it's a big deal around that area. I don't have much experience with it, but I've always been very intrigued by it. So that's interesting. So, well, one last final thought, thinking about the BFL on January 29th on Lake Chickamauga. From both of you, how much weight do you think it's going to take to win? And then how much weight do you think it's going to take to cash check?
I'm going to say 20. If the water's high, it'll take 26, 27 pounds to win. Probably 16 pounds to get a check.
Really? Okay. That's pretty strong. I mean, that's pretty stout.
If the water stays high, there'll be a lot of fish caught.
Okay.
Which I personally want the water to fall. So that's not what I want, but it helps me with low water.
Okay. And Justin, what do you think?
It's Chick. Somebody's always going to have that 25 plus. Hard for me to say. I haven't fished that much or really talked to anybody down here much. Probably, like you said, 25, 26 pounds. And probably, I'm going to go a little lower on cutting a check, probably 14, 15.
Okay. Yeah, Chickamauga, you just mentioned it, Justin. Chickamauga is Chickamauga. It's like fishing Lake Okeechobee or Sam Rayburn, Toledo Bend. Guys can be struggling all they want. But then as the old saying goes, there's always that one jackwagon in the field that's going to come in and he's always going to have 25 or plus on all those lakes.
I like to call it the factor.
Yeah, I would say Okeechobee, the St. Johns River, Lake Gunnersville, Chickamauga, Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, those lakes are notorious. Someone's always going to smash them year round. I mean, it doesn't matter the time of year. Someone's going to catch them.
Yeah. It's all about the big bite, though, at Chick. The guy that won it last year had 25 pounds, but he had a 10-pounder in the bag. I finished fourth, and I had a 9-pound, 12-ouncer with 4 fish. And I didn't even get second big fish that day. There was a 10.5, a 10, and then my 9-12. So it's all about, if you're going to win, you got to have that 9, 10-pounder in the bag.
You got to have that carry. So real quick, you said you were throwing a jerkbait last year. I'm assuming that's what you hooked up that big fish with. For me, throwing a jerkbait, I like 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon line. Do you throw the same for a big fish like that, or you go ahead and up it up or up the size of line? Or
I'm actually throwing 17 mono.
Really?
Just because I want to keep my jerkbait. Now, this was in low water conditions. I was fishing pretty shallow, and I didn't want that jerkbait to get real deep. I wanted to suspend, but I don't want it digging in the bottom. Okay. Now, with the water being higher this year, I may go, with a 12-pound fluorocarbon or something. It all depends on the conditions when I get there. Really? But last year I was throwing, it's either 16 or 17-pound mono.
Okay. Okay. And then Justin, you said you throw jerk bait a little bit on reaction baits. Do you go lighter like some Notorious, or do you go ahead and up your size of fluorocarbon because there's bigger fish in the lake?
Usually I've got 2 jerkbait rods on the deck when I'm catching fish on a jerkbait, and one's that 16, 17 pound mono, and the other one's 12 fluoro.
Okay.
Just depending on how deep a brush or bank I'm going down.
Right. So, okay, well, fantastic. Well, guys, you got a lot of great information out there. Looking forward to seeing your results. Hopefully, you guys repeat your success this year, and we have you back on for like the post podcast after the tournament. So we appreciate you taking the time to join us. I'm sure all of our listeners out there are really appreciative as well. And like I said, this is just something that Revital Outdoors is doing, kind of, looking into the tournament based off people's success from last year. And then we're going to follow that up with trying to get a hold of the winner of the tournament and having them on as well. So hopefully we see you again. And any final thoughts or sponsors or anybody you'd like to mention before we close out this podcast?
He's got the shirt on.
Ledgehead.com. Come check me out.
Ledgehead. Okay, so that's your company. What kind of baits do you have?
Manufacture heads for all types of swim baits, from your giant 8-10 inch swim baits. I build heads all the way up with a 10-aught hook, all the way down to a 1/8 ounce with a 1/0 hook. Pretty much any style swim bait fishing, I build a head for it. And I'm also fixing to come out with a whole line of swim baits and soft plastics. I'm doing dual injection and hand pouring and all that, but we just got through moving and I haven't got my shop all the way set up for the plastic set. That'll be about another month and that stuff will be on the website.
Okay, so just check out ledgehead.com. For all the listeners that are tuned in, if you want to check out Revital Outdoors and our premium CBD products for all outdoor enthusiasts, I'm going to go ahead and display the ticker. Check out our website, revitaloutdoors.com. Also, for anybody listening to this, and this applies to Justin and Tim as well, if anybody's interested in joining our pro staff. So we're a new company. We're actively looking for outdoor enthusiasts, both hunting and fishing, that you feel like you would serve as a good representative to Revital Outdoors. Check out our website. Go to the pro staff tab and apply there, and we'd be happy to review your application and get you on staff. So, guys, it's been our honor to have you on this evening. Best of luck in the BFL this year on the 29th of January. Be safe out there. And, we're just very proud that you took the time to be on with us.
Appreciate you having us. And everybody go follow Justin with Bryan College. This young man is one of the top fishermen in the country right now, him and his partner Connor. So everybody needs to go check them out and follow them this year.
I agree. I was a college angler once myself. It's a great program. So please, everybody, go check out Justin. He's on social media. He's on Instagram and Facebook, and then Bryan College as well. And just absolutely a phenomenal college fishing program.
Thank y'all.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, we'll let you go tonight. Thank you for having us, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very, very exciting stuff, sir. Again, that was Justin and Tim. They fished the BFL last year on Lake Chickamauga. They both got top 5 finishes. Very, very excited to have them on board. Again, if you're enjoying these podcasts and our content, be sure to go ahead and like and subscribe to our YouTube page. Also, find us on Facebook and Instagram. We're Revital Outdoors, premium CBD company for outdoor enthusiasts, but also a title sponsor to the Major League Fishing BFL. So we're very, very proud to have these podcasts and bring in all sorts of anglers from all around the country to talk about their success in the BFL. And it's just been a really great honor to have guests like Tim and Justin on our podcast. So thank you again. Be safe out there, guys, and God bless, and we will talk to you soon.